Hi guys, welcome to Football Heaven 24/7. I'm back again. I'll do a few episodes today. Going to run down 50 all-time best Premier League players ever to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Premier League. So in 50th place, he played 143 Premier League games and he scored 14 Premier League goals. He also had 17 Premier League assists. He was a champion of the league no times at all. And the reason for that is because he played for Liverpool. His name is Xavi Alonso, a great midfielder player, obviously from Spain. He's in 50th place in the all-time Premier League players, greatest players. Excuse me. On to the next. In 49th place, a really successful player. He played for Sheffield Wednesday, most notably West Ham and Charlton. He also was one of the few players to push over a referee whilst playing for Sheffield Wednesday. Have you guessed who it is yet? That's bad taste, but but it was Paolo Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio played 190 games for those three teams: Sheffield Wednesday, West Ham, and Charlton. Like I say, most notably at West Ham. Had a couple of seasons at Sheffield Wednesday. I believe he had 5 seasons at West Ham. Unfortunately, ending in relegation for West Ham. I think it was 2003-04 season. So, Paolo Di Canio, he had 190 Premier League games. He scored 66 Premier League goals in his time. He had 49 Premier League assists, which is very good. Shows how much of a team player Di Canio was. He wasn't just about scoring goals, he was about making goals as well. In 48th place was arguably, Manchester United's greatest goalkeeper of the modern day history, Edwin van der Sar. He played for Fulham before he played for Manchester United in the Premier League. He had a total of 313 games in the Premier League. He kept 132 clean sheets. Premier League assists, he had 1. So that must have been obviously directly from a long goal kick. He won the Premier League 4 times, obviously with Manchester United. And he lies in 48th place out of the top 50. Into 47th place, right back for Manchester United, was involved in winning the first title for Manchester United in the Premier League, or the first title in 26 years for Manchester United, in 1993. Dennis Irwin, one of the greatest Irish players as well ever. A very underrated player, but a lot of people that played with him, Giggs, a lot of other guys, said how great a defender he was. He had 328 Premier League games. He scored 18 Premier League goals. He had 25 Premier League assists, and he won. He was a champion of the Premier League 7 times with Manchester United. He also played for Wolves towards the end of his career as well. Into 46th place, a player that came along just the season before, or just the first season that Chelsea won their first title in 50 years. Or should I say, was it 50 years? Yeah, I think it was 50 years. 50 years under the new coach at that time, Jose Mourinho, who had just won the Champions League with Porto. In 2004-05 season, he came in. Arjen Robben, great left winger. He played in 67 games for Chelsea in those first 2 seasons when Chelsea won the league in 2004-05 and 5-6. In those 2 seasons, he scored 15 goals. He had 16 Premier League assists, and obviously he won the league twice with Chelsea. So Arjen Robben, a really good left winger there. Going into 45th place, Michael Owen. I'm surprised Michael Owen's not further up, really, but Michael Owen, as we know, anybody that's sort of around my age, late 30s and beyond, will know that Michael Owen was a very special player when he came on the scene as an 17-year-old kid. Obviously scored that wonder goal for England at the 1998 World Cup against Argentina. Unfortunately, not a good ending to the night there, but Michael Owen burst onto the scene in the 1996-97 season. He's played in 326 games across 3 teams, most notably Liverpool, obviously, but he also went on to play for Newcastle, Manchester United, and later towards the end of his career, Stoke City. He scored 150 goals in 326 games. He had 31 Premier League assists, and he was a Premier League champion once with Manchester United. But on his day, the first few years that he played in the Premier League, he was just so quick. He's probably one of the quickest strikers I've ever seen play in the Premier League. Because he was so short as well, he was an absolute nightmare for defenders trying to get hold of him. So yeah, 45th in the all-time Premier League players. A bit hard to believe. I probably would have put him in the top 20. But Gary Speed, unfortunately died, as we know, many years ago now. He didn't win a Premier League title, but he won the last First Division title before it changed into the Premier League with Leeds United. He played 535 Premier League games. He scored 80 Premier League goals. He got 44 Premier League assists, which shows what a great team player Gary Speed was. He played for Leeds United first. He played for Everton, Newcastle United, and towards the end of his career, Bolton Wanderers. And he's in 44th. Going into 43rd, it's Dwight Yorke. He played 375 games for Aston Villa, Manchester United, Blackburn Rovers, Birmingham and Sunderland. He scored 123 goals. Premier League assists, he had 50. Won the Championship, the Premier League title, 3 times with Manchester United. Obviously, starred in the treble-winning team for the greatest team that's probably ever existed in English football, to be fair, in the 98-99 season. So, Dwight Yorke, another great player. Going into 42nd place, it's Marc Overmars. He played just for Arsenal, as we know it. He was a champion with Arsenal once. He played 100 Premier League games. He scored 25 goals in those 100 Premier League games. He got 19 assists. And as I said, he was a champion once with Arsenal. And then into 41st place, one of the great strikers of the Premier League era, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Obviously came over from PSV Eindhoven in Holland. Great Dutch striker. He was actually injured when Manchester United went to sign him, pre-sign him. He was injured for a full season. But eventually he came in and worked wonders. In 150 games in the Premier League, he scored 95 goals. He had 14 assists, and he won the Premier League once with Manchester United in all that time. So you would have thought he was around for a lot longer than what he was, but he won one title, and that was mainly down to Chelsea having Jose Mourinho as their manager that stopped him having more titles, really. So going into 40th place, Robin van Persie. He played in 280 games in the Premier League. Premier League goals, he had 144. His Premier League assists was 53. He was a champion once with Manchester United. He obviously played for Arsenal before he played for Manchester United. So he's in 40th. In 39th, Sky Sports regular pundit Jamie Carragher played 508 games even for Liverpool. He scored 3 goals. He's probably scored a lot more in own goals, to be fair, outside of that. He had 15 Premier League assists. Obviously won the title no times at all, because obviously he was with Liverpool before Liverpool won the title in 2019-20 with Klopp. Going into 38th place, another great player from my era as a teenager. He played most well known for QPR and Newcastle in the early Premier League years. He scored 149 goals in 351 games. He had 49 Premier League assists. He never won the title. He also, outside of playing for QPR and Newcastle, played for Tottenham, West Ham, Leicester City and Bolton Wanderers. So another great player there. Into 37th place, we've got Teddy Sheringham. Absolute legend at Tottenham. Legend at Manchester United as well, to be fair. Obviously, he won the Premier League 3 times, but he won that with Manchester United after moving from Tottenham. He had a brief spell at Nottingham Forest at the start of his Premier League career, only there for a few months, and then went to Tottenham, then on to Manchester United, and he was part of that treble-winning team. And then he also played for Portsmouth and West Ham towards the end of his career before playing in the lower league for Colchester United as well. So Teddy Sheringham, he played in the 418 games in the Premier League. He scored 146 goals. He had 76 Premier League assists, and as I say, he was the champion. He won the championship 3 times with Manchester United. Into 36th, we've got David Ginola. He played 198 games. He scored 21 goals. He had 42 Premier League assists. He was a great left winger for for Newcastle. Came close to winning the title twice with Newcastle, but just getting pipped by Manchester United both times. As I say, played for Newcastle, he played for Tottenham as well, notably, and then he went on to play for Aston Villa and Everton towards the end of his Premier League career as well. Into 35th, Robbie Fowler, no surprise, one of the greatest Premier League strikers to come along. He played 379 games in the Premier League era, played most notably for Liverpool, then he went on to Leeds, Manchester City and Blackburn Rovers. He scored 163 goals in 379 games and he had 39 Premier League assists. Never won the championship, never won the title. Into 34th place, N'Golo Kante, part of that legendary Leicester City team that won the 2015-16 Premier League season by 10 points. They didn't even just narrowly win it. The greatest ever feat, as we know, Leicester were 5,000 to 1 to win that year. He's played more than this so far. I believe he's played 150 odd games. He's got 3 Premier League goals. Premier League assists is 6, which I suspect is more than that now. And he's won the Champions. He's won the Premier League twice. Obviously with Leicester in 2015-16 and Chelsea in 16 and 17. Anyway, going on to 33rd place, absolute legend of the game for Manchester City in the modern era, Vincent Kompany. He came along as Manchester City was starting up the rebuilding process to get close to challenging for the title. He won 3 titles with Manchester City. 4 titles even. He played 248 games, scored 17 goals, he had 8 Premier League assists, and as I say, won the title 4 times. Jaap Stam is in 32nd place. He played 79 games, scored 1 goal, 2 assists, and won the Premier League 3 times with Manchester United. Into 31st, the other regular Sky Sports pundit is Gary Neville. Played 400 Premier League games, scored 5 Premier League goals. He had 35 assists, which is impressive for a right back. And he won the Premier League 8 times with Manchester United. Going into 30th place, we've got Sol Campbell, who controversially moved from Tottenham to Arsenal, where he won 2 Premier League titles. He also played for Portsmouth and Newcastle. He played 503 appearances for all those teams together. He scored 20 goals. Premier League assists, he got 15. And like I say, he was a champion with Arsenal twice of the Premier League. But controversially, as I say, moved from Tottenham to Arsenal. So scary times for him at that time. But anyway, we'll go on to the next one. 29th place, Eden Hazard is in 29th place. Obviously playing for Real Madrid now. He played 208 Premier League games. He scored 61 goals. Premier League assists, got 41. Won the won the Premier League title twice with Chelsea. 28th, a great player from my era, Matt Le Tissier. Premier League games, he played 270. Premier League goals was 100. Premier League assists, 64. Never won the title because he always played for Southampton all of his career in the Premier League. So another great player. Probably the best player I've seen for scoring goals from 25, 35-yard screamers. He only ever missed 1 penalty, and that was against Mark Crossley of Nottingham Forest, which I would remember. So yeah, fantastic player, Matt Le Tissier, in 28th position there. 27th position, one of the best defenders to ever grace the Premier League, Nemanja Vidic. Played for 5 title-winning teams for Manchester United. He only played for Manchester United in the league. He played 211 games, scored 15 goals, and had 3 Premier League assists. Probably one of the greatest defenders that's ever been in the Premier League here, as I say. Going into 25th, Robert Pires played 198 games for Arsenal, but also later played for Aston Villa for a tiny bit. He scored 62 goals, had 41 assists, and won the Premier League twice with Arsenal. Into 25th place, we've got Luis Suarez. Obviously, Luis Suarez is playing abroad now. I believe he's gone back to Uruguay to play for his original team that he played for before he moved over to play for Ajax before going on to play for Liverpool, which was the only team that he played for in the Premier League era. He played 110 games for Liverpool. He scored 69 goals. Came close to winning the Premier League in 2013-14, just missing out to Manchester City by a couple of points. He had 23 Premier League assists. So he's a fantastic player, especially over the 2013-14 season. He scored a lot of great goals, and 14-15 he scored some as well, quite good ones. 24th place, Ashley Cole, now retired, 385 games he played. for Arsenal and Chelsea. He won 3 titles, one with Arsenal and 2 with Chelsea. He scored 15 goals and had 31 assists. And then in 23rd place, Gareth Bale, who's played for Tottenham over 2 periods in the Premier League. He altogether has scored 52 goals in the Premier League, and he has played 176 games. He's had 20 assists, won the Premier League no times, unfortunately for him. In 22nd place, Didier Drogba won the title 4 times with Chelsea, only ever played for Chelsea in the Premier League, 254 Premier League appearances, scored 104 goals and had 54 assists. Fantastic player, won everything there is to win domestically with Chelsea. As I say, Premier League 4 times, so he's an absolute legend at Chelsea. They've still got banners up of him now at the ground for games now. So into 21st place comes another legend who is now retired because of heart problems. Sergio Aguero played for Manchester City for 256 appearances. He scored 178 goals. He had 38 Premier League assists. He was a Premier League champion with Manchester City 4 times. Anyway, and going into the 20th place, a great player, David Silva for Manchester City. He's still playing, but he plays abroad now in Spain. Excuse me. But he won the title 4 times with Manchester City as well. He's had 75 Premier League assists. He scored 48 goals and 249 games. So into 18th, Tony Adams, the greatest ever Arsenal defender, arguably. He played 255 games for Arsenal in the Premier League era. He played a lot for them in the Division 1 era as well. He scored 12 goals for Arsenal in the Premier League. He got 9 assists and he won the Premiership title twice with Arsenal. Into 19th, I missed 19th. I skipped from 20th to 18th. 19th, David Beckham, undisputably one of the greatest players, probably the greatest winger, the greatest crosser of a ball to ever exist in the Premier League era. He played 265 games solely for Manchester United. In that time, he won 6 titles for Manchester United. He scored 62 Premier League goals. Most notably, he had 80 Premier League assists, which just shows how great he was at finding people from his cross and his long range passes that he could do really accurately. Most notably for David Beckham, as we know, he came into the limelight in the 95-96 season on the opening day. No, sorry, not 95-96, 96-97 season, when he scored from the halfway line away at Wimbledon when they won 3-0. And that launched him into a stardom that had not been seen in the Premier League since George Best. Well, George Best wasn't in the Premier League era, but had not been seen since George Best's times in the 60s. So obviously now very, very successful guy, runs his own team called Inter Miami FC over in America. But yeah, he won the Premier League 6 times, so a great player, iconic player of the Premier League era. Into 16th place, another iconic player of the Premier League era, Peter Schmeichel, arguably the best goalkeeper to ever grace the Premiership. He played 310 times, predominantly for Manchester United, but also had little spells with Aston Villa and Manchester United's rivals, Manchester City. So he played 310 games. He kept 128 clean sheets. He scored 1 Premier League goal in all that time, and he won the Premier League title 5 times with Manchester United. Into 15th, probably one of the greatest Chelsea legends, John Terry, greatest defender they've probably ever had. He played 492 games for Chelsea. He scored 41 goals and he had 12 assists. He won the Premiership title 5 times with Chelsea, and him along with Frank Lampard, who's coming up soon, were the 2 catalyst players that got Chelsea winning lots of trophies from 2005 through to, I think it was 2018 when they both sort of roughly retired. Anyway, on 14th place, we've got Rio Ferdinand, Manchester United legend. Started off at West Ham's youth academy. He then got an £18 million transfer to Leeds United. He was there for a season or so. Then he went to Manchester United for even more money, which I believe was something crazy like 30 million which was a lot back then. I think that was in 2002 or 3 season. Then he finished his career towards the end at QPR. But in that time, he won the Premiership title 6 times with Manchester United. He had 8 Premier League assists. He scored 11 goals, and he played 504 appearances in the Premier League era for those 4 teams that I mentioned previously. Frank Lampard, another great Chelsea legend. He is the all-time goal scorer for Chelsea, and also has scored the most goals from midfield by miles out of any player that's ever played in the Premier League era. He scored 177 goals in 609 games. He started off, like Rio Ferdinand, as a West Ham Academy product. Then he moved to Chelsea, and then shortly after that, Chelsea started winning a lot of stuff. And then towards the end, he had one cameo season with Manchester City at the end, where he also won cups there as well. Like I say, he played 609 games, 177 goals, 102 assists, which is phenomenal from a midfield position, centre midfield position. And like I say, the greatest ever scoring midfielder in the Premier League era. And I don't think he'll be surpassed, maybe not even in my lifetime even. So into 12th place, Patrick Vieira, an Arsenal legend, as we know, 307 games he played in the Premier League era. He scored 31 goals. Most notably had a massive bust-up with Roy Keane in the tunnel in a game where Man United won that game 4-2 at Highbury. As I say, he scored 31 goals. He had 34 Premier League assists. He won the title 3 times with Arsenal, and he ended up playing for Man City towards the end of his career. In 11th position, Gianfranco Zola, another Chelsea legend, played 229 games in the Premier League, scored 59 goals and had 42 assists. He never won the title though with Chelsea because he finished just before lots of money started coming in to buy more players to win stuff. So he only just missed out, but he's still a Chelsea legend, sort of like the lead up to before Chelsea really started winning stuff. So we're going to do top 10 now. Countdown pretty quick on this one. That's obviously there's a ton of legends in this top 10. In 10th position, Manchester United's all-time top goal scorer in their entire history. Ironically, comes from Liverpool. They're a bit of rivals, but obviously he started off in the Everton Academy, came onto the scene when he was 16, scored a wonder goal against Arsenal. A few seasons later, Manchester United signed him for 30 million at the age of 18. As I say, he scored 208 goals in 491 appearances for Everton and most notably Manchester United. He won 5 Premier League titles with Manchester United and had 103 assists, which shows how much of a great team player Wayne Rooney was, as well as an out-and-out goal scorer. Into 9th position, not a surprise again, another Manchester United player. Obviously, Manchester United dominated the Premier League era so far with 13 titles. Man City's getting close. I think they've got 5 or 6 now, 6, but they're not. Yeah, they've still got a long way to go if they want to surpass Manchester United in the Premier League era. So, Roy Keane, he played 366 appearances in the Premier League. He scored 39 goals and he had 33 Premier League assists. He won the Premiership title 7 times with Manchester United. Into 8th position, you've got Steven Gerrard, Liverpool legend, played 504 games for Liverpool, scored 122 goals, he had 92 assists, never won the Premiership, came close in 2013-14, and 2008-9 he came close as well. Both times losing out to Manchester teams, Manchester City and Manchester United respectively. So, but probably one of the greatest players that's ever played for Liverpool. Won everything there is apart from a Premier League title, really. So, most notably known for the goal, unfortunately, in the 2006 Cup final against West Ham to bring it to penalties, which Liverpool eventually won, and also rejuvenating a team the season before on the 2004-05 season on the 2005 Champions League final against AC Milan. They were 3-0 down at half-time. Gerrard scored the first goal in a comeback that led Liverpool to win on penalties after extra time, after the game finished 3-3. So into 7th place, Paul Scholes, iconic player, everyone says he's probably the greatest ever midfielder player to play in the Premier League. Although he didn't score as many goals as Frank Lampard, it's thought that his contribution as a team player was better, and he was able to pick superb passes out very often to win games, and he was very good at breaking up attacks and getting Manchester United on the offensive. So 499 games, he scored 107 goals, he had 55 Premier League assists, and he won the 11 Premier League titles with Manchester United. He was part of the 95-96 team that Alan Hansen, the former Liverpool defender, said could never win the Premier League title. They obviously went on and won it. So he said you couldn't win anything with kids. Obviously, he was proven wrong. So yeah, Manchester United legend there. 11 Premier League titles, which is outstanding, but there is someone that surpasses that as we go towards the end of it all. Into 6th place, Dennis Bergkamp made a massive impression. One of the sort of first flurry of foreign players to come over in the Premier League era. Dennis Bergkamp scored 87 goals in 315 games. He only played for Arsenal all that time. He had 94 Premier League assists, which shows that, yet again, how much of a great team player he was. He won 3 Premiership titles with Arsenal as well. Into 5th place, I'm a little bit surprised, but it's the all-time top goal scorer in the Premier League era, Alan Shearer. He scored 260 goals in 441 games. He had 64 Premier League assists. He won one Premier League title for Blackburn Rovers in the 94-95 season, just pipping Manchester United to it that season. He never won a title for Newcastle, although he finished second twice with Newcastle to Manchester United. But as I say, the greatest ever Premier League goal scorer so far, 260. Harry Kane is not far behind, so it wouldn't surprise me if Harry Kane surpasses him over the next 3 seasons or so, if Harry Kane doesn't get any injuries. So we'll see what happens there. Into 4th place, the king of Old Trafford, Eric Cantona. He was responsible for the first few titles, or helped to be a major part in the first few titles for Manchester United at the start of the Premier League era. He played 156 games, he scored 70 goals, he had 56 assists, won the Premier League 4 times. He also won the last First Division title with Leeds in the 91-92 season. So he'd done fantastic. He retired quite early, actually, in his early, I think he was 30 or 31, but went on to do acting, as we know, and various other things. Into 3rd place, I would have thought this guy might have been first, but Ryan Giggs holds the record for the most Premier League games, 632 Premier League games. Oh, sorry, no, that's Gareth Barry even holds the record for that. But he definitely holds the record for the most Premier Leagues won. He won all 13 Premier League titles that were won under the era of Alex Ferguson from 93 through to when he retired in the 2000. I don't even know what season it was. Oh yeah, he would have retired in the 2012-13 season, I think. He retired. So when Fergie retired. So, I think it was the season after 2013-14 he retired. So yeah. So anyway, 13 titles. He had 162 Premier League assists. Premier League goals he had 109, and he played 632 games. So an absolute legend of the Premier League era. Going into 2nd place, Ronaldo. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo became a worldwide star. He still is to this day. He is still classed as in the top 3 or 4 greatest players that's ever played, ever, pretty much. So he's played 190, well, more than this now. He's played 222 appearances in the Premier League. He has scored 101 goals in the Premier League. He has 42 assists, and he's won the Premier League title 3 times at Manchester United. But the all-time greatest player, even a lot of the Premier League players voted for him. In first place, Arsenal fans will be really happy. Thierry Henry played 258 Premier League games, scored 175 goals. He had 74 assists, and he won the Premiership title twice with Arsenal. So yeah, Thierry Henry is the all-time greatest player in the Premier League. Cristiano Ronaldo in 2nd, 3rd Ryan Giggs, 4th Cantona, and 5th Alan Shearer. So they make up the top 5 greatest players so far. No doubt A few others will come along to get into that top 10. As I say, Harry Kane should be up there over the next couple of seasons. But yeah, thank you for staying tuned. This is my tribute to the 30th anniversary and to the 50 greatest players of the Premier League era. Kevin De Bruyne, I'm sure, will feature in a few years as well. So, but for now, this is what's happening so far. So, thank you for tuning in for this episode. Continue to like and subscribe. Get all your friends and family involved, and I'll continue to put out more great content of football currently, but also of football matches from the past and seasons from the past in review. So, have a great week. Whoever you support, I hope they win. Bye for now.